Imagine this. You walk into an office, it's got free beer, cold brew on tap, neon signs that say, do what you love. You feel cool, important, part of something bigger. You're not just renting a desk, you're in a movement. That's what Adam Neumann sold people. WeWork wasn't just desks and Wi-Fi. It was supposed to be the future of work, the future of cities, the future of how humans connect. Investors poured in billions. SoftBank, the biggest tech investor on Earth, bet $10 billion on Adam's vision. They called him the next Steve Jobs, the next Elon Musk, the messiah of co-working. But behind the kombucha taps and glass walls was one of the biggest financial illusions in modern history. A company that burned billions, lost billions more, and somehow made its founder rich enough to buy private jets while thousands of employees got laid off and investors got nothing. How does a company that never made a real profit reach a $47 billion valuation? How does a single man walk away with hundreds of millions when the company he built collapses? And how is he already back, pitching his next big dream to the same people he burned before? This is the story of how Adam Neumann scammed Wall Street with free beer and big promises, how he spun hype into a multi-billion-dollar payday, and how he's doing it again while everyone's still too embarrassed to admit they fell for it once. It started small. 2008. Two guys in New York, Adam Neumann and Miguel McKelvey, decided the office market was broken. Companies didn't want long leases. Startups wanted flexible space. So they rented a floor, split it into desks, and subleased it out for more. Easy math. A normal co-working model. But Adam wasn't normal. He didn't want to run a real estate company. He wanted to sell a religion. The We brand. We work. We live. We grow. Shared offices, shared apartments, shared schools for your kids, all under his cult-like control. He was magnetic, 6'5", Israeli accent, barefoot in boardrooms. He told investors he'd make more money than Amazon, Google, Facebook combined. He said WeWork would elevate the world's consciousness. Investors should have laughed. Instead, they opened their wallets. In 2017, SoftBank's CEO Masayoshi Son met Adam for 12 minutes. And by the end, he promised to give him $4 billion. The next round brought that to $10 billion. Adam spent it like a rock star. He bought wave pools, fancy homes, private jets. He trademarked the word we, then made his own company pay him $5.9 million for the rights. He threw parties where employees got drunk under neon signs that said, "Hustle harder." Meanwhile, behind the glass walls, WeWork's numbers were a mess. For every dollar they made, they spent two. They gave away rent discounts to fill seats. They locked into expensive leases but rented month to month. Every co-working desk was a ticking time bomb, but Adam didn't care. He told investors, growth first, profit later, and they believed him. Why? Because it was the age of unicorns. Uber, Airbnb, scale now, figure it out later. In 2018, WeWork hit a peak $47 billion paper valuation. Adam called himself a unicorn shepherd. He told the world WeWork was not a real estate company, but a technology company. That lie alone turned boring office leases into a Silicon Valley fairy tale. Then came the IPO. In 2019, Adam decided WeWork would go public. He filed the paperwork. Wall Street opened the hood and freaked out. They saw a company losing $219,000 every single hour. Adam's personal deals were shady. He'd bought buildings personally, then leased them back to WeWork for huge profits. He'd cashed out $700 million before the IPO even happened. He flew around the world in a private jet, preaching community and consciousness while secretly sucking cash out of his own company. The SEC asked questions. Investors asked more. The media shredded him. The $47 billion dream started to look like a pyramid made of free beer and fake promises. In a matter of weeks, the IPO collapsed. WeWork's valuation began plummeting. Adam got pushed out by his own board. But here's the plot twist. They paid him to leave. SoftBank, desperate to save face, gave Adam a golden parachute worth $1.7 billion to walk away. Employees who'd spent years drinking the Kool-Aid got laid off. Some had worthless stock options. Landlords sued for unpaid leases. The cult was over. Adam was rich. Normal founders get fired for losing millions. Adam lost billions and walked away a billionaire. But the story doesn't end there. Adam wasn't just a salesman. He was a showman. He made investors feel like they were on a mission to change humanity itself. Employees didn't call it working at a co-working company. They said they were part of a movement. Inside WeWork's headquarters, people signed contracts they barely read. They got stock options instead of raises. They stayed late to build Adam's vision because they believed he was going to make them millionaires. He gave them beer taps and ping pong tables, but the real payoff was supposed to come when WeWork went public. IPO day would turn all those worthless stock papers into real money. People planned dream vacations, houses, retirements, but behind the scenes, Adam was cashing out early. By 2018, while employees waited for the big payday, Adam sold hundreds of millions of his own shares. He bought houses in New York, California, even a mansion in the Hamptons with a surf wave pool in the backyard. He bought a Gulfstream jet for $60 million. Employees who flew coach on red-eyes watched their barefoot CEO sip wine at 40,000 feet. One time, Adam got so drunk on a private flight he left a tray of weed on board, and the crew threatened to ground the plane. The board shrugged it off. He was their golden boy. Every new funding round, SoftBank threw him another blank check. Masayoshi Son, SoftBank's boss, told Adam to be crazy but not too crazy. Adam heard only the first part. He poured cash into side projects that had nothing to do with co-working. A private school for kids called WeGrow, apartments called WeLive, a wave pool company, an investment in a superfood startup. He told employees WeWork would expand to every corner of life. Offices by day, apartments by night, schools for their kids, gyms for their workouts, events for their networking. Some staff joked they were living in WeWorld. Behind the jokes was a truth. WeWork had turned into a cult of Adam Neumann. He gave wild speeches about how his company would solve loneliness, poverty, climate change, all through the power of open-plan offices. He said his goal was to be president of the world. The press printed it like he was half joking, but insiders knew he was dead serious. Investors loved it until they didn't. The more Adam talked, the more he revealed how fragile the whole dream was. By 2019, when WeWork's IPO filing hit the internet, everyone saw the truth in black and white. WeWork was bleeding money like no other startup. It owed billions in leases. Its core product, cheap, flexible offices, wasn't new or unique. Competitors could copy it overnight, but Adam still claimed it was tech. Reporters dug up every conflict of interest. Adam bought buildings personally, then leased them to WeWork at high rents. He trademarked the word "we," then charged WeWork millions for the right to use its own name. When investors realized what he was doing, WeWork's valuation collapsed overnight. From $47 billion on paper to single digits in weeks. SoftBank, which once bragged it would make 10x its money, was stuck holding the bag. To avoid total embarrassment, it paid Adam to walk away quietly. That $1.7 billion payout wasn't hush money, but it sure looked like it. WeWork laid off thousands of employees. Some packed up the same beer kegs and neon signs they'd once posed in front of for Instagram posts about changing the world. Now they were jobless, with worthless stock. Meanwhile, Adam popped up on yachts in the Mediterranean, living the dream he'd sold everyone else. Most founders would disappear in shame, but Adam didn't flinch. He threw a few lines about how mistakes were made, then pitched his next act. In 2022, he re-emerged with Flow, a rental housing startup he promised would fix the crisis in living. The irony? He pitched it like he pitched WeWork, a lifestyle brand for apartments, a vibe, a community, pay rent, get culture, and guess who wrote the check? Andreessen Horowitz, Silicon Valley's top VC, gave him $350 million, biggest single check they'd ever written. People asked, how can you trust this guy again? The answer, they don't care. They want to believe the next big story. They want to believe Adam is still the unicorn shepherd who can spin concrete into gold. Meanwhile, Flow is buying up apartment buildings in places like Miami. The pitch is vague. Community events, better renter experience, some crypto sprinkled in. Same neon buzzwords, same dream. You're not just paying rent, you're part of something bigger. Sound familiar? It's the same game as WeWork. Take an old idea, slap a new word on it, and promise to elevate your soul while draining your wallet. When people say, how did Adam pull it off? They forget he didn't do it alone. He needed believers. Investors who knew the hype wouldn't last, but bet they could dump shares before reality hit. Employees who ignored the red flags because they wanted the stock options to come true. And maybe most of all, a public that loves the idea that we're all just one TED Talk away from utopia. If Adam's first billion-dollar lie was that rent desks were tech, his second is that rent apartments are a revolution. The lesson? When hype is more profitable than honesty, the hype machine never stops. So keep your eyes open. When you see a founder promising to save the world with shiny buzzwords, free beer, or spiritual slogans, Ask yourself, who's paying for this dream? Who's cashing out while you're buying in? And when the next Adam Neumann says he's back to fix what he broke, maybe don't give him your rent money too. This is Midnight Watch. Subscribe, watch the dream, follow the money. And remember, if it sounds too good to fail, someone's already counting the payout.